Last night we were all in the dark.
That was Joyce. I didn't know if you ever saw it.
I see her just right on the side. Yeah.
How many cost the last $600,000?
I think she was concerned.
So, I know he doesn't. I'm sure he's not any better.
No, and so I think she was.
I mean, I told her, I says, I'm not sure.
All right, I show 6:30, let's call this meeting to order. Let's stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, may be seated.
Amen.
First thing on the agenda, we have last month's meeting minutes. We got an opportunity to read those. Or not.
Make a motion to accept February 3rd, 2026 meeting minutes.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Right.
Opposed? Unanimous vote. All right. This time we will ask for anybody, if there's anybody in the audience who would like to address the council.
About anything?
Is this where I come in?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
no. Okay, so, you know where I live on Wabash Avenue, and I think maybe I had mentioned this to you before about the mailboxes and the parking on the same side. And I didn't know if that was anything that could be changed to put the mailboxes on the other side. I know we have some neighbors that seem like they all drive two cars, so there's like cars always parked, I mean, all the way down. I mean, they're not a problem, but I watched the mailman pull up and then physically have to get out and walk through the cars and put all the mail in the mailboxes. And if I was the mailman, I would just say, sorry about your luck, but they're a lot nicer, I guess, than I would be. And it was all winter long, and I just feel bad for them. So I just didn't know what the options were for moving it to the side that you don't park on.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
That's a good.
I think that's a post office decision,
Yeah.
not a town decision.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't know.
Unless we change parking to the other side.
Right.
I just feel like it'd be easier to move the mailboxes
Narrower,
than,
yeah,
right.
By design, parking on that side.
and there's not tons of mailboxes, but there's like 3 here and 2 here, you know. I don't know. So just a thought. I didn't know what to do, if that was a town thing or a post office thing. Okay. I guess I'll talk to them then.
good luck. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't know, if, based on looking at the agenda and saw the agenda, I mean, what I'm really here to talk about is the two specific projects, the pickleball project and the quilt garden patio. So do you want me to address you now and then, or do you want me to wait until those topics come on board?
I mean, they're on the agenda under Rob's stuff. I think you guys can tag team that if that's fine.
I mean, if you want to wait, you can.
That's up to you.
I mean, I can,
Why don't you wait?
okay, I'll just wait. All right.
I have a question. The apartments across the street from me and east at the end, like, there's that pond. And I know we had a lot of snow, but when we have a lot of rain, there's a lot of standing water in there. And then I think about all the mosquitoes. I mean, but there's a drain in there. Is that the town? Or is that
That's their retention runoff, isn't it?
it's for the apartments? So, and I know who, he actually said something to me. And I told him to talk to Rob about what his thought was on it.
Their property, it's their
It
property.
is,
Mhm.
okay. Okay.
Anybody else? Thank you. Moving on. We went over JPR's engineering report last night. Let's move on to Katie.
Can you touch base real quick on the engineering report?
Sure.
Rob and I think you showed it with Katie right around, we got some information back on some insurance stuff. That's a substantial difference what they've come up with. So we're gonna work through that in the next couple of days, and we'll probably have something in the next council meetings to let you guys know kind of where it stands, but it was a huge difference that we're underinsured, we feel, so just so you guys are aware.
Just for your review, the ambulance financial statement for 2025 is on your Google folder. And then we'll look to make a motion to approve the 2025 annual financial report.
So we're looking for that's the ambulance.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I make a motion to accept the ambulance's annual financial report for 2025.
Yeah, I don't think we need to do
You
that.
don't
For
need
that
that?
one, it's for the
It's
town
for the
one,
town
yeah.
one.
Okay,
So,
Yes, problems.
This will be for the 2025 annual financial report that's required to submit to David each year.
is that the full one or is that, because we have one
They're
submitted?
the same report. The full report obviously has more detail. And then the cash and investment statement, that is the shorter version that's required to be published in the newspaper.
So we're looking for a motion for our annual report.
Okay, so I'm not finding any of the transfers following you. I looked at it last night with Gateway.
Yeah.
Oh, it's under the, okay,
Yeah, AFR.
okay,
Either combined or the, yeah.
okay, either one.
you just need a motion made to accept our
Financial, yes.
our annual financial report.
Mouthful.
Yes, I made that motion.
What's your motion to accept? Can you describe it?
It was the annual
Financial
financial
Well,
report
the AFR if you want.
AFR,
Financial
2025.
report.
for 2025.
Second that. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
I,
Opposed? Unanimous vote. All right. We have the fund report from last month. And we also have the employee handbook updates. Charlie, do you have anything you want to change or add from last night?
No.
All right.
We added those changes that Charlie provided from last night.
Do we need a motion for that?
I believe we do.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept the changes that we made to our handbook.
My folder.
no second that.
Okay, I got a motion and a second to accept the changes laid out in the handbook. I believe that's section 604. Yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous vote.
I have a few other items that I added since last night. They're not action items, just informative items. We did receive the 2026 fireworks contract. This is a contract between the baseball program and Night Magic that the town typically reimburses or pays that invoice on their behalf. So they've got the same fireworks show scheduled, but the price has increased just slightly. And then some informative documents on just some key meetings for electronic meetings. If a council member would attend a meeting electronically, there's a few stipulations like you can't vote on budget, at least 50% have to be here in person. Just little tips and tricks there. And then this is what I have here. The Maple Syrup Festival, I have it in my folder as MSF Town Council letter. They've got street closure request in for the Maple Syrup Festival. And they're wanting to start closing the streets down on Wednesday, April 22nd, and it's same as the last couple of years.
I think the biggest change is the 123 lot. They're gonna close that on Tuesday.
And then just for reference, I also have the open door law, the public access counselor handbook posted on my folder, just for review. That was the item that came up in question. Any questions on those items?
Do we need motion to approve the street closures or not? Can't remember if we.
I'll do it on the fast.
I couldn't, so. Okay. Anything else, Katie?
That's it.
All right,
I have another question.
sure.
I know when they're gonna do some stuff at the park, but you know, the heart that they made for Diane Brown and for the one while ago, are they gonna, I mean, cause it's falling apart, are they gonna do anything with that, do you know?
The park board's gonna have the town take it down and then allow those people to come pick up their hands, because most of those people are now adults.
Okay,
We actually had a meeting March of last year,
okay,
where the representatives from the Lotiger family and the Brown family came in and discussed like
Sure.
going forward with the park, and that was one
Okay.
thing they thought was be a good idea.
Okay,
So
Thank
that's
you.
will be the future of that park.
okay. Because I had a couple hands that are there.
Yep.
Not mine.
But you got them on, so that's good. But that'll make sure that'll go over, throughout town, so it won't be,
Okay.
it'll be known, basically, what
Okay.
happens.
Right. So now we have the DLZ items. We have the DLZ water treatment plant pay app number 18. The amount of $49,617. And that's for services rendered from 1/17 to 2/13 of this year.
Move accept pay app 18 for $49,617.
Second that?
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous vote. And then we have the R Yoder pay app number 16, the amount of $1,131,130.12. I believe that's for a lot of installation and
Process equipment.
process equipment.
The goal is to potentially have that plant online by the end of March. Just so everybody's aware. There'll be site work and stuff that needs to be done, but that's the goal. We're trying our best to hit it, so.
We make a motion that we pay the RD Order pay app number 16 for $1,131,130.12.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous vote. Next, we have Reeve Riley's Keystone Lift Station pay app number 6. They getting that pretty well wrapped up too, right?
NIPSCO has got the power to the lift station. Swartz Electric is waiting on Generac to do the commissioning of the standby generator. They'll fire everything up and test the SCADA system, test to make sure everything works, and then do the final tie-in for that, and then eliminate the 2 old lift stations after that. Getting very close.
I make the motion, we accept the pay app number 6 for Reeve and Riley for the lift station, $130,944.60.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous vote. All right. Moving on to Alex.
Just some clarification from last night's meeting. I conferred with Reeve Riley today, and they are going to, they put us on the calendar for the last week of July for county, or for the fair week. So that we can shut that down. The only stipulation is they'll probably come in 2 weeks prior and close off half a block so they can do the concrete for the crosswalk. And then they'll come in, and we'll keep traffic open to the alleyway. So people can get to the garage and stuff like that through IT. That'll be for a couple day period, and then it'll be opened up, and then we'll close the whole downtown during Fair Week, so they can pave everything and get everything striped and back operational by the week after Fair Week. So that Monday, they put us on this calendar. They said they will make it happen. So I'd like to ask permission that we approve Reeve Riley in the amount of $140,000 to mill and pave our downtown square, 100 block each direction. They're the lowest quote. We got 3 quotes. There's 140, there's 144 and some change, and 167 and some change. So
Reeve and Riley is actually 141,000.
it's one. If you look at the bottom line, If you combine both projects, it's 140.
So it'll take 138.
So they just went right at.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's cool.
If they did both.
All right, cool. Well, make a motion to allow Reef and Riley to do our paving project for $140,000.
Second that?
I got a motion and a second to approve the downtown paving. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous vote.
So if anybody notices, we have a new leak at Harrison, Indiana. While exercising valves today, we got on a valve that's 90-some years old. While opening it back up, a couple turns into it, the valve snapped. So now we got to replace that valve. Domino effect. It's one of the oldest mains in town. So I got parts ordered right now. It's running out of the valve box at the size of a garden hose. There's nothing we can do about it at this point. We'd like to eliminate the 4-inch, but I'm not sure it's going to happen yet. But it's on our probably 1 to 2 year plan. So it depends what happens when we shut it down. We have to take it all the way back to Elkhart Street, to Indiana Street, actually Spring Street, Indiana Street, and then Waterford Street. So we know of 2 houses on it at least, and we'll be making contact before we do that work to make them aware. Everybody else is just going to be a crapshoot because we don't know who's on it. Because we have 3 water mains that run down that street, so it's a mess. They never eliminated it when they put new in, and so now we get to deal with it. So we're going to be doing the repair in-house. Parts will probably be here sometime next week, so then we'll tackle it at that point. So everybody's aware. If you see the water, we know it's leaking. There's nothing we can do yet. So. But that's all I have. Thank you.
Tim?
Nothing, do you have questions for me?
How soon is the squad car ready for the?
It's on the road.
It's on the road?
It's haven't striped yet.
Okay. I thought I saw it the other week, but not the other week, last weekend. Yeah. Awesome. That's good. It's good.
Have you had any problems at Inter Credit Union and Casey's where they meet?
We are not.
Okay.
We really were expecting some
I've had
crashes there.
three people call me, but the one today was pretty upset because she was the one that almost got creamed. And she was like, she was coming out of Intera, assuming she had the right of way, because she was going straight, not coming into oncoming traffic. Didn't know if we should do signage or,
Well, it's private property.
Yeah. Both.
According to the prosecutor's office, if we have an agreement, then we can enforce. But to me, I would probably talk to Casey's and say, hey, can you consider putting some stop signs there, make people stop? And that is an agreement all with Terra Credit Union and Casey's. So they kind of knew that was going to be a problem. So,
I didn't know if you'd had any reports of any,
we have
anybody
not.
hitting each other.
We really haven't.
Okay.
So we're open 24/7. I don't know
Yeah.
if people don't call us and say, hey,
Yeah.
this is what's going on out here.
It was on Facebook.
Was it really?
Was it?
Did you monitor
I didn't
Facebook?
see that.
Somebody said they, be careful out there.
Yeah.
It's swirly, yeah.
I'm not going to disclose this.
Any other questions for Tim? Okay. Rob?
I'd like to talk about the Independence Day celebration that I've been chatting with Tim about it. And I didn't get it on the agenda, forgive me for that. But just to give you a kind of a preview of what I think would be very cool to see, and I'm getting a lot of very positive comments about it. The July, or sometime during July, and I'm thinking right now it would be June 27th, which would be the day after America at the Ballpark. We could join our efforts with them to do a July celebration for Wakarusa by instituting a parade that would feature all the baseball players, That would feature Public Works, that would feature police, that would feature fire, that could feature the car club, the cruise in, that would feature any other significant clubs or businesses downtown. I'm really excited about the baseball players. I've spoken with Joe Linda specifically about baseball. We would love to have every team that's willing and possible or capable to walk behind their sponsors, holding perhaps a banner in their shirts, and we honor them for a long-standing, very successful and significant program here. And we do that in the form of a parade. I have pictures of Ron's River Dog or someone, selling hot dogs, selling pieces of apple pie. If you have a Chevy, you can drive your Chevy through town. But the whole celebration of baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and Chevrolet, that whole concept, just kind of revisiting all of that wonderful patriotic thing that makes Wakarusa so cool, but also honoring our service employees, obviously police and fire. When I called Cameron Brubaker, he about wept. He said, I remember doing this as a kid, and we stopped doing it for some reason. I would love to see it reintroduced. So I'm working just on some idea gathering with Steve Huntsberger as well, who will be wants to be greatly involved with this whole project. And by the way, that day, we gave you permission to share this, June 27th, I believe it was 8 years ago, is when Travis was actually killed. So it will be a very special celebration on that day as well. But I would love to see the high school marching band and anything and everything that would draw people from residents from town to come and celebrate who we are as a community. And we are our 250th as well. So if you have any questions, it's going to take a group of people to make this happen, and it's going to be not as big, but it's going to be a big event, and it's going to require a lot of people. But I envision kind of all-day things going on down the docks, cornhole, all kinds of family stuff. We just want them to come to the downtown area and just hang out, get a hot dog, buy some jelly beans, eat a smash burger, eat ice cream, all those fun things. But I'm open to ideas on how we can make that a really meaningful event. So that's coming up. Regarding our pickleball, it's all part of the Linger Longer initiative, and I'm sure we probably have questions regarding this. But pickleball and then the quilt garden patio idea. Both of those projects are moving along. I know there's been some questions regarding the scope of those projects, perhaps the cost of those projects. I do want to say this, regarding the quilt project. And Katie, if you want to chime in here at any point in time, let me know. But since I started as the town manager, one of the first things I did was I attended a conference with Brock on new urbanization in America. And then I also, prior to that, as I registered for that, I started doing research on small municipalities and what is the going trend, particularly among small municipalities. And the emphasis of all of my research and the emphasis of the trip to Providence, Rhode Island, was about revitalization in our small communities, creating points of connectivity. One of the very first meetings I ever had with people of Wakarusa was with Judy. I remember we were talking about the sign. We were sitting in her living room. She makes very good cookies, by the way. We were sitting there, and she shared with me a vision of creating points of connection as we were talking about Wabash Street and creating areas where you can walk through town and sit down and enjoy Wakarusa. In the spirit of that, and in the spirit of what Brock and I learned at Providence particularly, is that same spirit with revitalizing the quilt area, the quilt garden area. Already for that project alone, the Elkhart County Convention and Visitors Bureau has helped me here from $20,000.
Yes,
Nice.
For Avangard to help out.
For Evan Marsh, they signed a contract for Evan Marsh to help with ideas and marketing and so on and so forth.
And
Yeah,
then pay
also.
for the design.
They paid for the design, probably about $6,000 or $7,000 worth of design and a 3D walkthrough. They just paid for that because they see the value of that project. And they're excited about getting involved and promoting that throughout Elkhart County to make this kind of a hub for people to come and visit. We've already got a very nice quilt garden. This will take it to the next level. And they're already committing to help promote events there. The quilt garden design is, there's going to be a little like patio stage where people can play live music and it creates points of connection for the people in Wakarusa, but also visitors. And they're going to get behind that with ongoing support of art, entertainment. They already, because of the changes we're proposing, they want to bring an amazing featured piece of art from a different country.
Yeah.
Another state.
Another state.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's inside the United States.
It's inside the United States, but
We can't say exactly what yet.
we can't say what it is exactly, but it's a very cool featured product that they would like to position at that quilt garden project when it's all said and done.
Draw people to come and see.
It will draw a lot of people because it's a very popular exhibit. The Community Foundation has already committed $25,000 to that project as well. So, and then we have current donations from local suppliers or contractors, and we have a local resident who, between the two of them, committed $12,500. That's already in donations, and we haven't even started talking about creating more donations or collecting more donations, but that's $61,000 in donation towards that project alone. And it's really critical in all of this that what I kept learning and when I was hired, it was like, okay, what do you want from me, or what is it you expect from Rob Slagle as we move forward? And the thing I kept coming back to, or kept popping up into the middle of my brain, was development, revitalization, and bringing a sense of vitality to our downtown. And I've had a number of business owners, I've had realtors who very candidly talk about the blighted position of our downtown, and the fact that nothing really significant has happened in our downtown community, our downtown area, for many years. Well, just being very candid, communities all around us are pushing forward with all kinds of revitalization. You look at Napanee, you look at Raymond, you look at Goshen, you look at Warsaw, you look at a lot of other communities. Millersburg, small community of 600 some people that they're trying to embrace that whole concept of revitalization. They're doing so with some fear and trepidation. I admit that. They're doing so with fear that, okay, is this gonna all pan out? Kind of the same concept with pickleball. There's a lot that's involved with that. And when I first came out and said, okay, it could cost X amount of dollars. By the way, pickleball, I think that at this juncture, if we don't do something with pickleball, they might hang me from the highest pole in Wakarusa. Because there are a lot of people who would like to see pickleball. It's very, very successful in other communities. And the whole concept of if you build it, they will come. We just want to do it right, and we want to do it without any remorse. But all of that is going to require some serious doing. It's well within our budget to do these things. It's more expensive than we first imagined. Pickleball is probably going to be right around where we imagined it to be, but there's other things that need to happen with our pickleball program. Putting it out at next to the baseball diamonds, while simultaneously, in order to make that happen, we're going to address a very important infrastructure issue, which is drainage out there. We've got standing water. Carl has been out there. We've had a couple meetings out there, and we got a plan to fix that so it will not just benefit a new pickleball area, but it'll fix an ongoing problem which has happened for years and years and years with the Little League tournaments, with the baseball tournaments. They have to cancel half their games because the fields are too high. So in so doing, we're gonna fix that as well. But again, all that comes out of price. And so I know there's some questions and concerns, and I'm willing to take them perhaps with Katie's help, or any uncertainties that are out there. Feel free. But I guess before, you can share whatever you want to share. And trust me, we didn't, and you can think what you want to think, but we didn't sit around and steam and say, okay, hey, Rock, share something. He actually came to me and said, hey, I'd like to share this. And I said, I read it, and I said, have at it. I think it would be good. As our chamber director, who's literally swinging for the fences for the town of Wakarusa, he's wanting what's best for Wakarusa. He actually created something that he'd like to share something about.
While he does that, can you put the MP4 up on the screen? The walkthrough, the virtual walkthrough? I'm sure.
Figure out where it is.
So like Rob said, I've been thinking about this for a long time, so I wrote it down, and I'm gonna read what I wrote, because that'll help me keep the time down, because I like to talk. So, good evening, members of the Wakarusa Town Council, esteemed business professionals, and fellow residents. I stand before you tonight to champion a vision of Wakarusa brimming with vibrance, a place where quality of life attracts businesses, retains residents, and welcomes visitors with open arms. We all know Wakarusa is a town with a rich history and a strong sense of community. But to truly thrive in today's competitive landscape, we must actively cultivate a unique and compelling identity. We need to create a place that people want to be, a place that hums with energy and offers experiences that are both memorable and enriching. That's why I wanted to focus on two key initiatives that I believe are crucial to achieving this vision: the Quilt Garden Patio and the enhancement of our park and recreation facilities. First, the Quilt Garden Patio. This isn't just about aesthetics, it's about creating a destination. It's about transforming our downtown into a magnetic hub that draws people in. Speaking of possibilities, a beautiful space for community events, a delightful spot for residents to gather and connect, and a picturesque backdrop that attracts visitors eager to experience the charm of Wakarusa. A vibrant downtown anchored by a Quilt Garden Patio becomes a powerful magnet for new businesses. It signals that Wakarusa is a place where people want to be, a place where they spend their time and their money. This increases foot traffic and will directly benefit all of our existing businesses, and it incentivizes new entrepreneurs to invest in our community. Second, we'll talk about our parks. They are more than just green spaces, they are vital components of our community's well-being. By adding pickleball and basketball courts, we are not simply providing recreational opportunities, but we are fostering a sense of community and encouraging healthy lifestyles. These amenities attract families, engage our youth, and provide a welcoming space for visitors to linger longer in our town. Consider the ripple effect. Visitors who enjoy our parks are more likely to explore our downtown, patronize our businesses, and spread the word about the unique appeal of Wakarusa. Investing in these initiatives is not just about improving our town, it's about investing in our future. It's about creating a Wakarusa that is not only a great place to live, but also a thriving hub for business and tourism. I urge you, members of the town council, to prioritize these projects. Let's work together to transform Wakarusa into a vibrant, high-quality place that attracts businesses, retains residents, and welcomes the world to experience our doors. Let's build a Wakarusa we can all be proud of, a Wakarusa that shines brightly for the generations to come. Thank you. And you have a letter in the Google Drive that is exactly that copy.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Regarding, first of all, at this juncture, are there any questions or comments? I know Carl and I spoke earlier, and we can look at some of those things. I will say, regarding this project, and I don't know if you want me to play that again, but I can certainly just let that roll. Because of the scope of this project, we are now getting companies that are saying, we want to sit down with you and we want to talk about making donations. We want to talk about helping pay for this. I've got one at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning that I can't mention anything specific about it, but I'm really excited about sitting down with this group. They've got a lot of interest in our community, they're invested in our community, and they're the type of organization that has in the past thrown big dollar amounts at projects like this. Had we not gone with the scope of this kind of a project, we wouldn't even jump onto their radar. They wouldn't even have said, no, this isn't big enough for us to even concern ourselves with. So, yeah, I think I had a mentor forever, he was a financial mentor, and he said, here's what you do. You shoot for the moon, and if you miss the moon, there's a good chance you're gonna land among the stars somewhere. And with that being said, I think we have to cast a big vision for the town of Wakarusa. There are a lot of organizations who are waiting for Wakarusa to cast a big vision regarding where they are and where they would like to be. Our average residents, 37 years of age, just found out earlier that hasn't really changed. That age hasn't really changed in the last 26 years. It's still 37. Our population, I know there are some people concerned about us becoming as big as Houston. I say Houston because I was just there. But in the last 26 years, we've grown by 300 and some residents in the last 26 years. We could withstand another 600 to 1,200 residents. We probably would like more than 300 to 600. We'd like to keep it under 3,000 if we can. But the reality is, even that kind of growth, which is very nominal, which is very small, still makes us a very, very charming town. Makes us a very quaint place to be. We're not going to lose, especially if we cherish it as much as we cherish it. We're going to protect that with everything we have. But I think our goal, and I'll just be honest, our goal is that with the momentum and the response we've already received from this Linger Longer initiative, is that we're going to receive the funding that we need to make this happen without really having to dig too deeply into our cash pockets. And I don't know if you want to kind of go on that.
So on the Google Drive under my folder, I have a 2026 available funds for improvement project. And I just pulled out a few of the appropriations that projects like this, improvement projects, could be paid from. And then page 2 is our Form 1 budget form for our 2026 budget. And I found there and highlighted those appropriations so you can see where they're coming from. And then that last page would be our fund report, which are the actual dollars, not what's budgeted, but the actual dollars that are in each of those funds. And I went through and kind of highlighted those. And like Rob said, we don't plan to pay for these projects in full. We've got a lot of momentum with grants and with fundraising. We've got people interested in meeting with us. We just launched our fundraising website page. Our website lady, she's originally from Wakarusa. She's a certified fundraiser, so she has a lot of helpful input in helping us put that together. We're working with Avon Marsh to put together brochures that'll help us with the fundraising. Again, just a really good resource. Elkhart County is just so supportive of this and helping us move forward with raising funds and seeing the project through.
One of any questions or comments so far on that?
I'll just say from the public works side of things, this is an exciting project for us too. I mean, it's gonna create a little more workforce, but to see something like this put in a space that's really kind of a dead space, I think we have the opportunity to take full advantage of something like this and really make it shine. As an outsider of Wakarusa, I hear people all the time talk about Docks Pavilion. I think this will be another item that everybody talks about and we want to be here. So I really think it's a great project for this community, our community.
Regarding the quote garden, when we first started looking at it, we're like, we could do this for $25. This isn't going to be difficult. We can get some chairs and throw some concrete in there and make some things happen. Then we sought out professional advice, and they started asking really pointed questions about, okay, what do you want this space to become? And then they started looking at the back 40 of that space, and then they looked at the park. And they're like, so what's your plan with the park? It's pretty run down. What's the plan there? And so with that being said, we wanted to create a connection between South Elkhart Street, which is Car Cruise, which is huge during Maple Syrup Festival, which is big during the farmer's market. We wanted to create a connection between the downtown and the actual park, and kind of, it was already there, but to embellish that pathway that leads from South Elkhart Street to the park. And in the spirit of keeping the park as special as it was when it went in 15 or 20 years ago, it's in desperate need of repair. So that's actually like phase 2 or phase 3 of work that needs to be done in that quarter of town. It's like, I mean, literally there were phone calls today, actually, Katie even, was it, you talking about that this weekend?
We went to the park yesterday.
Yesterday. If you go to the park now, as beautiful as it was when it was first built, and it was such an awesome community event, I remember it like it was yesterday for me. And I remember the 2 people it was built in honor of. I want to continue that. But it's old, it's run down, it's dangerous even. There's wood that's falling apart, there's nails that are exposed, there's screws that are exposed. So that needs to get fixed. But this would literally usher people, it would draw them into that park area. So, and by the way, the whole idea behind that is to get the community involved. One of the things you have right here, if you look right here, that's the alleyway that goes obviously towards the park, and back here would be the park. One of the things that we would love to see here is a big community project that would be, we have to maintain the alley because we've got assets there. We have to be able to access that alley, but there's no reason that couldn't become a great big art mural project for the entire community. The kids of the community could come, we could have someone design something, and they could all have something to do with creating that mural. And that's the type of thing that could literally be repeated every 3 to 5 years if you wanted to. You could paint it over, and you could do it again. The city of Columbus does that. I've spoken with their manager. I've looked at their project. It's a very doable project. It would just help lighten that whole area. That could also be during festival. We could put more either food trucks or vendors even along that road, because if I know Brock, the way I know Brock, the festival is going to continue to grow, and pretty soon you guys might be finding food trucks in your backyards. But the reality is, it's going to grow.
We put all the games there, actually. All the carnival games could go on there, and then that would free up extra booth spaces for Maple Syrup Festival to add extra artisans and more food trucks. So,
And some people are concerned, just let's get it right out there. Some people are concerned about the 3 or 4 parking places here. These people, we have right over across the street, we just spent, I don't know, a significant amount of money putting in the 1, 2, 3 parking lot. And there's plenty of space. I believe there's 47 spaces there. While there's 3 or 4 spaces there, there's 40 empty spaces available in the 1, 2, 3 parking lot. So just open communication and transparency about how this is all working and why it's all working is something that I think we need to do. So I want to try to encourage that kind of engagement as we move forward. But I guess that's it at this point. What kind of questions or concerns do we have?
Is this the official design? Like, is this design set in stone?
No, not necessarily, but it's a solid design for that space. I will say that included in this design is about $40,000 to $50,000 worth of RGB lighting, which can all be controlled with your phone. It's toward the higher end of bougie, but that's something that could simply be eliminated and therefore save a significant amount of money. When you consider most of the activity in the park, as much as I would love to see the RGB lighting, it's going to get dark at 9:30, 10 o'clock during the summer months, and not too many people are going to be very interested in us, lighting that up with cool lights. So I think that could be considered rather frivolous. But you can still run conduit to account for that if you would ever want to add it in the future, you could. But, that's like version 3. Version 2 or version 3
That's
of what the original design was. The original design was kind of reminding me of downtown Dubai. It was a little crazy. But this, and by the way, the response that we are getting from our socials is just been really positive. Our average 37-year-old with 2 kids, a dog, and a Volvo station wagon like the idea of doing something this upbeat in the downtown corridor. Any other concerns, questions?
A couple questions I had, and I think it's a really cool idea, I do. I was kind of surprised by it all. When it was put into our Google Drive, I didn't realize it was, gonna be to that extent. And then when I saw it on social media, without us even we haven't even voted to move on with it. We're already publicizing that we're doing it, so I feel it's kind of backwards. I don't want to deter the spirit of it in any way. I just think when we do a project, we need to look at that and kind of try to reverse that a little bit, so that we're not all 5 of us sitting up here blindsided.
I felt we were caught off guard on that,
Yeah.
especially
The
when.
last estimate that I had saw was just for the seating in that, and it was like $50,000. And now this is $251 without the seating, which it's a great project. Then the other thing that I question in my mind, and I've questioned this since I've been on council, and I don't know that any one of us have an answer to this. But I feel, okay, so to bring businesses to our town, do we beautify our town first and make all these amenities? Or do we throw that money at the businesses to entice them to come? Like, we'll fix your building, we'll give you a low-cost loan, we'll,
And I say this, where there's not a lot of space for the businesses, honestly, with a lot of spaces that are a 9 to 5 and not a retail space.
Mhm.
Would you incentivize those people to open up their front parts of their stores and move them to the back sides?
right,
How many insurance companies, how many chiropractors,
Yeah.
how many doctors do we have? Taxes and everything else. You've got the Yoder building with, it's not even open.
Mhm.
Where is that incentive to bring that business if there's no space for the business to go? That's another thing to look at.
right.
Is there a space to even build more buildings that could bring people, in and draw business to this town?
That's my biggest fear with, I love this concept, I think
I do
it's great.
too, I think it's cool.
What are they gonna do when they're here? We have became such a heavy service-based downtown that you need your taxes done once a year. If you don't get your hair cut in one of the 2 haircut places we now have across the street from each other, you're not going here. You might need to come eat a meal once a week at one of the restaurants that we currently have open. How often do you need candy? If you got kids, probably more often than people that don't. What else can we do?
That's the purpose of this, is to encourage people to
Okay, I get it,
and to spend more time here.
but there's nowhere else to go right now. If you don't need your
But when they
taxes
do,
done,
we want them to stay longer. And I
to
think,
do what? And spend money where?
and I think
The
that's
garage,
where-
the dime store, shortstop,
We got 4 places.
quarter slice. We got
We're
Shelley's
not
new
But
business.
how do we as a town get more? How do we
that's
have
where-
another
It's a parallel build. We talked about that the other day. You have to do both at the same time, because one before the other, it's like the chicken.
So then
What's ahead of the
what as a
egg?
town are we doing as a parallel along with building a beautiful space?
Well, I think we need to
We need to address our blight across the street,
I think
I
we-
agree,
which is what we talked about.
I agree.
and I would agree with that. We've got to
Do
get
we-
them to either move on whatever we're trying to incentivize them to do.
Do we create a fund? It's maybe this project is a go and people get behind it and we get all the people that want to donate and really help excel the downtown. And they're excited about Wakarusa. Can we parlay that into, hey, now would you like to be involved in our next initiative, which is the pickleball program and the athletic complex and things like that? And instead of the town using that money that's earmarked for that, we set up a fund to revitalize the downtown. We do like the county does and offer lower interest loans than you can get at the bank to revitalize your building, to rebuild it, to do what you need to do down here. Let's help put more skin in this game to where more people want to be here. We can build all kinds of beautiful things, but if we're not helping nurture the downtown to help every other business that's already here, what are we really doing?
Now, to answer your first question, of when they come here for one purpose, whether it's to get their hair cut or to come to the farmer's market, we want to entice them, oh, there's some live music here, there's some food trucks here. And that's where Elkhart County comes in and is going to help fund our series of events for the first year. And they go a little further and they spend a little bit of time there, and then they say, oh, look, there's a brand new park beyond there, and they go a little further.
Movies in the park. I mean, we got 3 scheduled for this year.
And to your point too, we're working towards revitalizing the buildings because we do see that as a need as well.
So I guess what I would like to see, I've been here quite a while, I'm walking Lisa, but I would like to see us, okay, if we're gonna go do the quilt garden and do the pickleball, I would also like to see us, Rocco mentioned it, but let's start a fund so that we can help bring in businesses to downtown. We need to work on that, and I think that's in the future. That is how we can control, or not how we control, but how we can help our destiny.
Entice them.
Entice them to be here.
But here's the situation. I've had 6 businesses that want to come to town. In the spaces that we have, I get 0 response from the building owners. They don't talk to the businesses I've had coming in.
Did you get a response from the letter?
And I don't own the building, so I can't do anything with it.
But that's just one.
And there doesn't seem to be any incentive for them to sell the building or even lease the building when somebody comes to them and says, hey, we're gonna do all the remodeling, what will it cost us to lease this building? Like Cook's, I had Steve Freiberger from Hoppers wanting to put in a pizza place and a sandwich shop and he wanted to do it, but the caveat was he wanted the building next to him so he could have some place for people to sit. Boom. As soon as they said, no, we don't want to sell it, but we're going to leave it set empty and look like, pardon my French, but the Gaza Strip with holes in the floor and all that. He was willing to do all the work. He just wanted that building, you know, and Anthony's going to be in the same position eventually. He's going to want to expand. We've got the yoga studio that was coming in. She wanted part of the building and they said, no.
Rob, in regards to the letter, no response, correct? Do we have, without us, so this is, I guess, a question for Charlie, without us having a code enforcement division, do we have an ordinance or anything that we can sink our teeth into on this building, or do we have to just refer it to the county?
The county won't do anything.
They won't look at it as an unsafe building.
I asked them about code enforcement officers coming in and looking at it, and Jason Alville, his response was, we don't have the manpower to send people out for this kind of thing. So, at least that was the last response I got, from Jason. He said we've got a running staff,
Right.
have no
That's when you
idea.
get almost it.
So it's like choose like which unsafe buildings that come in the valley.
It was crossing.
We can push the issue, but I specifically said, I would like to have a code enforcement officer out here to look at this building and the
That would have killed me.
I would love to have somebody come out and look us back with, that's probably not gonna happen.
So, Rob and I had a meeting with Ken Jones from JPR. It wouldn't be a lot of money, but we talked about setting up a downtown tip. And with that, if the building makes improvements, that extra assessed value for taxes can start building that little nest egg where we can reinvest in the downtown. I think that's vital, but we gotta have people willing to commit. And if we have the facilities that people are willing to commit because of, you know, amenities like this, we can start building that nest egg. It's not gonna be a whole lot, but it's gonna be a little bit to help everybody downtown.
I just read I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just read recently, I think it's Noblesville, but it's somewhere down around Indianapolis. They're literally paying residents $15,000 to come and move into their community. We will give you $15,000 if you do for our community. To incentivize residential growth, but I don't know if you could do something similar to that, to emphasize, or to incentivize businesses to come, but you gotta have owners that are willing to say, hey, you can buy my building. I know Napanee, and Rocco, you and I have talked about this, and Ed, I think you and I have talked about this, they have a program where you might be able to
Through
shed
their
some light on this,
RDC.
where they will literally, the town or the city of Napanee goes in and purchases said property, or whatever the property happens to be, then they coordinate, I believe, with Pete Yoder from Ace Builders or someone, and they establish some kind of a contractual arrangement where Pete comes in, renovates it, and then it looks like $1 million, and then they, I don't know how they work it, but one of their council members was telling me they somehow create a mortgage and then they forgive the loan and blah, 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 blah. I'm not sure exactly how it
Most of the
works.
money is coming from their RDC to do that.
Right. You can get downtown too.
So, right, so we would need to know how to,
Right.
in order to incentivize our workers to do that.
And Brock, I appreciate the work you're doing, and let's see if we, I know it's hard, but we're gonna have to see if we can move forward. I would like to have a list of owners.
Well, and we can certainly
Yeah.
do that. I mean, it's not a long list.
No, it's
It's
not.
not a long list.
But let's see if we can't work something out. You know, we want it to be vital.
Yeah.
Instead of just sitting here empty.
Can I just say one more thing?
Yeah.
Why do we not have ordinances in places for building businesses when you have ordinances in place for homes? So how hard is it to continue to write an ordinance for the businesses to upkeep their properties at a safe and nice looking, if I can go and call and say, hey, so-and-so's yard's got 15 inches of grass that's not been mowed,
Oh my.
or trash that's not being taken out, because there's an ordinance for that. So why can't we just start writing ordinances for the businesses to uphold? And it shouldn't have to be business or residential. It should be any person here within the town limits to keep their properties looking in a certain way. I mean, you've got right behind Doc's Pavilion, it looks like Sandberg and Sons back there. I mean, two different spots.
Well, we have my mechanic out here, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
exactly. I mean, if we want to be proud of what we have, we need to have something in place that somebody can uphold, you know, something that's written that says this is what it takes to be here.
And there are people who are negotiating right now with Frank on the building.
On the corner.
On the corner.
Okay.
So I found that out the other day. They approached me and said, we're back in negotiations to purchase that building and do something with it.
Well, just take this suggestion and let's continue to work on it. And
So
let's see.
Shelley, when you're talking about this, do you think it'd be to our advantage to have businesses help to write that ordinance?
Oh, absolutely. Why
Right.
not forward?
Mhm.
I mean, but,
You're a business.
you know, if you're not gonna get that response from a business owner, I certainly wouldn't hold that up by any means.
No, right.
You know, but it just shows they're taking pride in
Right.
being here.
I know in the town of Mishawaka, city of Mishawaka, it just doesn't happen because they have something on the books that Todd talks about it all the time. It's like that just simply wouldn't happen in town of Mishawaka. So I can go and I can try to be as influential and persuasive as possible, but if they're not interested in selling or doing anything, what then do I do?
But it also comes down to the fact of commercial code enforcement, correct?
Well, but you gotta understand, larger municipalities, they govern themselves, where we're governed for code enforcement by the county.
Right.
And there just ain't getting out of that. I mean, it's just. I don't
So you feel like
know.
your hands are
Just have to
tied.
set up a whole new regime.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
take that out.
Then we would,
Then we'd have to hire a code enforcement. When you retire, it'd be a great job.
Yeah. it's retired.
Cars in the yard.
I am absolutely convinced that we need to do something, obviously, with the downtown. We have talked ad nauseum about properties whether they're out there or they're here behind docks or it's downtown stuff. And it seems like at every turn, I get someone saying, no, sorry. We're just not gonna be able to help you. So, I don't know if I can make any headway with the owner across the street, but that's not just the only owner. There's one down here, there's a different owner down here. Then, it becomes an exhausting task to try to get some kind of forward movement. So I do believe that the Linger Longer initiative, we're getting great support, we're getting great response. It's gonna be interesting to see what kind of meeting I have tomorrow. But, I mean, we'll see, but I do know that in moving forward, I think if we just trust the process, that I think this will happen, and I think it will happen without a tremendous amount of expense, if any expense. I can't guarantee that. I don't have a crystal ball, but I also think that you'll have the same kind of response with the pickleball project. Every single community that I've talked to, where they built their pickleball courts, one of the first things you say is, wish we would have just added more. I wish we would have done more than just 6. Bristol, I mean, they put in 6 pickleball courts in day 2, they were wishing they had put in 8. So, I don't know where that leaves us on this, but I mean, in order for this to happen, there's another $50,000 grant out there, and we would have to have this project done by when?
So there's a $50,000 grant from Main Street America that we're applying for, that we are looking for support letters from the community for specifically the quilt garden patio. There's another $25,000 grant that Community Foundation has committed to this project as long as it's before June 30th.
Is that for building it or for hosting the events afterwards?
For building it.
And that's not included in your 61,000, or it is?
And they have explained that deadline would, if we meet that deadline, then they would commit, they're talking 50,000 for the pickleball committee after the July 1 fall.
Yeah, so there's a time-sensitive issue with that.
And the 20,000 is from the ECCBB, or?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. And this project did start off much smaller, much simpler, just that front half. And that's, what we originally came to you. And when we kicked off some fundraising during the
Tailgate.
thank you. What was that, like August?
Mm-hmm.
We were looking
We
at
just
it
kind of put a
much,
picture up and said, and
much smaller. And then Elkhart County started getting involved. We met more with Stone Ridge and nailed things down. And as that design came together, we really didn't have these bigger numbers. Like we knew it was becoming bigger as we expanded it all the way to the park, and they encouraged us just to dream a little bit bigger, but we really didn't see those numbers. There's, this little black one just came in yesterday when we added the signage on there. So it's not like we, didn't express those numbers early on. It just kind of evolved over the last months through the fall and the winter, and as Elkhart community helped fund some of those designs, and we dreamed a little bit bigger. That's kind of how they came together. And like they said, if the fundraising doesn't come in like we expect it to, we can eliminate some of the fancier lighting and different items off there. And Josh from Stone Ridge is okay with that.
Contrary to all of this conversation, being involved up at Notre Dame as much as I am, it amazes me on how many people from that area say, walk through, say, hey, man, that's where the dive stores are. And how many people come from out of the surrounding area just to visit the dive store. It just continuously amazes me. And when these people see my patch and they see that I'm working up there, and they come up, I say, hey, there's more than just the dime store. There's grandma's pantry, there's the dented can, there's
shortstop. You know, I loved what Gabe and Shelley did to that restaurant. It grieves my heart that they're leaving. But, you know, I can imagine the task that they had to endure each and every given day to keep that open and doing what they have done. It used to be Cook's Pizza. That used to be the thing. I mean, my gosh, everybody talked about Cook's Pizza. If we do anything, they don't advertise as much as what they used to. They used to advertise the heck out of things at the dime store. I don't ever see any advertisement going on for Grandma's Pantry, and you know, I know that they would advertise on TV and on the radio. Maybe have some funds to help them advertise what they're doing here in Wakarusa, and it can't be cheap. I'm sure Shelley could say how much it costs for advertisement. It's not just about getting extra businesses here. It's about the talk. I mean, it's about going out and expressing everything that we have going on here. Just like the old movie says, if we build it, they will come. And we can't just sit here and go, well, let's see what happens. I mean, man, I get what everything that you guys are saying. You're absolutely right. I mean, it grieves me to see all these empty buildings, and only they know what is going on behind the scenes of business owners and building owners and this and that. But if we're going to do anything, we need to ask them, what can we do to help to get your name out there? If people are coming from 45 minutes out to buy candy, they're going to come and buy candy. And if you can tell them, hey, there's Grandma's Pantry out there too. I don't know where you get your cold meat, your cheese, and this and that, but you aren't going to beat it. You're not going to beat it. I don't know what's going to happen to Shortstop. I don't know what's going to happen to Slices or whatever it's going to be. You know, all we can do is help promote it. And if we can establish monies and funds for them to advertise, then I think that's where we need to look, not really giving tax abatements and breaks and things like that. I mean, it's above my pay grade to know and understand how that works, but man, if we can do anything, let's help them advertise. That's what I think.
I agree with you, Tim.
Katie, you said after the 25,000 and that the patio project was done, they were looking at 50,000.
Yes, so this grant would be from Elkhart County Community Foundation. And they have told us that they will give us $25,000 for the Court Garden patio for their grant process that ends July 30th. And then it'll reopen July 1, and then we can reapply, and given this project being a higher dollar amount and other factors, they would look at giving us $50,000 for the pickleball project. But they would have to be before June 30th and after July 1.
And all grants are commensurate with the size of the project. They're consistent with the size. So what put us on the radar was the scope of the project. We had no idea that was even happening. We had no idea that we would get the kind of attention that we got. But when we threw this idea first out to Crystal and John, they're like, whoa, okay, we can definitely get behind this. And then there was this, and the conversations I've had with them, the conversations I had with Chris Stager, with the Elkhart County Development Commission and Economic Development Commission, and then the ongoing conversations with Ray at Community Foundation. It's like the larger scope has said, oh, we'll throw more money at that because it's going to be more expensive. But it's also what we just didn't anticipate was that we would have business owners coming and saying, we need to meet with you. We want to talk about the scope of the project and we want our name on this. So that being said, I'm not sure what all is going to come from that, but I do know that if we don't move forward in some very similar fashion here to what we're promoting, a lot of those offers are just not going to be there.
Do we need to focus on one at a time?
Well,
Is it going to be too hard to ask for money from your left pocket and your right pocket at the same time?
I think it's all part of it. Part of the thing that we're looking at is the initiative, the Linger Longer initiative, and I know there was some who thought this was kind of a crazy idea, but the brainchild is behind the Linger Longer initiative is that it can encompass any number of projects under that umbrella.
It was at the guidance of the Community Foundation and the CDB that we incorporate multiple projects together to increase the scope and to increase the number to allow us to attract more dollars. Rather than, as Rob said, it's commensurate to the size of the project. Well, now as you look at it as the Linger Longer initiative, that project's scope goes much beyond quilt garden and pickleball. It also now encompasses the park and anything we do.
So focus on this more of a longer stretching timeline instead of a dual front.
Correct.
Yes, and
Yeah.
as the project falls off, we'll add more on,
So this would be the first.
yes.
That's the big, we're not trying to tackle both things at the same time,
That's
right?
what I was thinking.
We wouldn't even be able to even approach pickleball with the exception of maybe some of the things we can address with drainage out there, which clearly needs to be done.
That's regardless, yeah, absolutely.
That needs to happen regardless. But we wouldn't even be able to address that until after baseball season, which puts us well into July. The I was gonna say the pickle garden. The garden project.
That's a great idea. We can have a pickle fest.
Well, there's just,
They already do those.
there are
Yeah.
just so many things that could roll out of that project that I think it just behooves us greatly to move forward and with that, because I think it's gonna be so good for our town. I think it's gonna be so good for our town. And we're gonna add a little bit of pretty, and we're gonna put some nice aesthetics out there, and it's gonna make people go, huh, man, can you imagine, what would have happened if they didn't do this? What would this look like if we didn't do this? And thank God they did. I honestly believe that's going to happen. I all the time used to tell my students, I used to tell kids I coached, I tell people that I've worked with in business, please, please, please trust the process. And I think this is a good process in motion here, and we need to get behind it as a community. And if it fails, you can run me out of town on a rail, you can tar me and feather me, hang me from the highest pole. But I believe with everything in me that this is a good move for Wakarusa. I really, really do. And if I'm wrong, you can all take turns standing in line and slapping me with a spaghetti noodle, saying you're an idiot. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I just don't.
Can I ask a question? So I'm sure it all has to do with regulations and all that kind of stuff. Can it not be more like volunteer community involvement where we can all step in and all be part of it to cut down on cost and things like that?
Some of the finer things, so the park project in particular, I think an awesome model is the way we did the park that's there right now. That was a community project, and in the spirit of those two beautiful women that it continues to honor, everybody came together and they said, let's do this, it's a common purpose. Let's do something special for the town of Wakarusa, and it has served Wakarusa amazingly well for the last 15 or 20 years now. And we would love to see that happen. Some of the things that require, quite frankly, I don't want to do some of the things that the more precise work with the landscaping and that design work with the quilt garden, but there are things that whole mural idea, I just envision, and maybe I'm silly, but I'm envisioning a whole bunch of little Wani school kids out there with their moms and dads helping paint that mural.
But there's a talent in every area of this town.
Absolutely.
Somebody's got a talent for this and someone's gonna have a talent for that,
Well, one of the guys that,
know.
from our town that lives kind of across the street
Yeah,
from you has done the design work.
Okay.
And they would be the ones that would be doing it, but they're also
We
willing
have
to work
all local contractors on it, Schwartz.
with Schwartz.
and Stone Ridge
Okay.
and.
Yeah.
Schwartz is already committed,
They're all local.
typical Troy things. Yeah, but, so they're all local contractors that would be involved with that. But the park, there are a lot of park companies out there where you can say, hey, we want this to be a community project, and they will come in and cater to that end. and you'll save significant money. I know we saved significant money doing it. How long ago was that?
2007, I think.
When?
2007.
Okay, so 19,
18 years.
almost 20 years.
I didn't like physically look at this. How much seating is there? In the,
It's in the
because I watched the
program area?
video, yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Four
It's,
tables, but then the round landscaping.
Yes.
there's three
Those are all
tables, and
seats.
Those are all seat walls.
it's all- yeah,
Plus
seawalls.
swings in the back.
There's swings
and
in
an
the back,
open
and then
area
there's a whole
for-
area where you can bring your lawn chairs.
Is there an actual drawing? I didn't see an actual drawing.
I just tried to watch the video.
Something other than that?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is
just-
actual
Yeah,
drawings.
we've got several different renderings, I can give those to you. And I can be able to do that.
That'd be
But,
good to see.
we can.
Because there's an overhead, a front view, an alley view, and I think there's one other. I think two of them are duplicates though.
I'll just say this, if we can knock this out of the park, people will look at that and say, okay, now look what we're gonna do with pickleball.
Well,
And
In the park and
Yeah.
everything follows.
and by the way, I appreciate the email, by the way. We're already seeing literally people coming out of the woodwork saying, how can we be involved? I mean,
Well, I-
do you mind? I mean, Sarah's a great example. This is a great idea. How can I be involved? How can I help? The response we're getting from the whole pickleball project, this is a great idea. How can I be involved? How can I help? And what they want to know is how much skin does the town have in it before they commit?
They want to make sure it's gonna follow through.
They want to make sure it's gonna go through. And
the way I see it right now, we're looking at just donations, $136,000.
and we haven't even really
And you've
started.
not even really went out and talked to you.
I haven't even donated money yet. I'll probably donate some money.
Mhm.
I don't know how much. Tomorrow, some from Tim.
And I know that the chamber has discussed it, and the chamber is going to be taking in money from a chamber standpoint as well.
Okay.
Because I've convinced them that we have money and we need to invest it, we need to put it back into the town, so whatever we do, and it might be like we've done in the past with Maple Syrup Festival, maybe that, rather than writing a check to the ballpark or whatever, we'll take that money and we divvy that back to the town or to a project. And I think that will help our projects moving forward and our events if they're earmarked to being able to do that. And then I'll share that and I shared with Rocco and Carl last night, but I had a foundation, a new resident in Wakarusa that came into town that had made a significant donation to the chamber at the end of the year. And his promise to me is there will be more because we want to invest in Wakarusa. So, I mean, and they gave us almost $12,000 at the end of the year, and that was just what they had left over.
They've been generous to our nursery school too.
Yeah, they,
Yeah.
so, those people, and I didn't even solicit that, he just walked in
We
the
did
door
either,
and
just
sat
in
in,
the mail.
sat down on
We
my
didn't
couch
know
and
who
said,
it
there'll be
was.
more.
Yeah.
You just tell us what we're gonna be doing, and we don't even wanna be named.
Yeah.
We just wanna know that we've done good with our money. So,
I do know that at the tailgate, we had, I don't know how many people came up saying, please continue doing this. Do it again, please do it again, please do it again. With the tailgate alone.
Yeah. Well,
And that's really where I think one of the first big contributions came from. Hey, we're gonna write you a check.
we got we got a grant from the Elkhart Community Foundation to do 3 music in the street events along with tailgates. So they've already written the check and we've already got it put in, earning interest until we get the dates actually set. And the Convention and Visitors Bureau just sent me a check today for a rebate on our visitor's guide that goes up on the toll road. We've been doing it long enough that now we get back half of what we put in. So I pay $3 and they send me back $1,500. So we're getting it at half price now. So pays to stay in rhythm with some of these people and not just bail on it. So
So can we revisit the Casey's
Yes.
thing? So I kind of reached out when all of this discussion was going on to my contact out there. He says Casey owns a property that leads out to Nelson's Parkway. That they had also received complaints from members that cars don't stop when leaving Casey's and near the collide with vehicles driving along that west drive that leads to Nelson's.
Yeah.
So I really am not 100, I mean.
They, so
without-
they, from,
I have no idea how much of that
Yeah.
drive
they
that,
actually,
that Casey's own. Do they own just 50
right,
feet of it, 75 feet of it that comes out of their drive onto?
one lane or what's it?
So he's going to, then the other thing he said, he's gonna reach out to somebody there at Casey's. He isn't, it's in his office and who that
Right.
contact person is to see what can be done. And he's gonna kind of lead me into that direction a little bit. And then he said that they're also getting ready to make improvements to that east drive,
Mhm.
where they're going to be putting some curbing and blending it into the Casey's drive
Right.
that goes back there off of 19. I think that they're going to allow people to go out, which is
Yes,
southbound only, but people are gonna go north, you know darn well they are, and that's where we're gonna start having
Yeah,
problems,
that's
is
gonna be
there,
next.
not
yes.
out there at.
And they're gonna be
at
going
the
in there much
drive.
faster rate.
I'm sorry?
They'll be going at a much faster rate
Yes,
there.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's, to me, I mean, that
Yeah.
was, when Casey's was first being built there.
Mhm.
and I met with that contractor, I met with my contact with Intera, and we stood out there, and he was talking about how they're wanting to do this and do this and this. And I said, man, I said, your field of vision, all those trees
Yeah.
that are right there, those arborvitae trees,
Mhm.
that little
Dip.
dip that goes in there, that's, so I just asked him, I said, hey, is the state involved in any of this plan?
Yeah.
And he said that as of right now, he's not aware of that being involved in any of it. But- So, he's working on it, I'm gonna try to find out, he's either gonna make, my thing is, if, let's say they own 300 feet of that drive. So if they own from Nelson's Parkway
Right.
over towards where they make the entry into the bank. If Casey owns all of that, from that point all the way out to Intera, it should be Intera Credit Union puts a stop sign right there and says, hey, you're gonna stop and let people, but that drive out of Casey's doesn't go back that far. It's just right there at Nelson's. So to me, I think it's probably just that 50, 60, 70 foot of footage right there, but
Just put a stop sign.
I thought that too. Why don't you both put on a stop sign? Both of you have to stop and look at one another. And then, the prosecutor's office told us that we can enforce any state law on any private property as long as we are under a contract. So, with that being said, that would be the one thing that I would want to talk to Casey's and Terra Credit Union about, is allow us to monitor and retain this and to start citing people if they do it that much. We don't want to run business out.
No.
by any means, but we don't.
Also make it
crashes.
safe.
We want to make
Yeah.
it safe.
Yeah.
Each of you put a stop sign up, and then you both did your due diligence.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Exactly.
I just want to say I'm really excited about the projects, but I don't want you to forget that idea of if there's some sort of ordinance we can do for the town, so you have some teeth to do what you want to do and what the people in our town want.
Because I would venture to say the majority of our residents don't like the light in the downtown area. And to me, that's critical, that should be priority, but I see this as kind of a dual
Sure,
effort in
absolutely.
moving forward. I think,
How many square foot is that building? Do we have any idea?
I don't know, but if I had the
Yeah,
money
I
and
just-
the wherewithal, I would buy it. I would buy it, or if we could somehow make it something that the town could do, similar to what Napoli does.
Right.
And we could control, and allow me, this sounds a little creepy, but we can control the nature of what goes in there and how it looks. Because it's working for Napoli. seems to be working.
Well, I like the idea of small shops.
Oh.
Small shops that are starting out that
And
can.
I've got pictures from, I don't know that I've shared these with you guys, and I'm remiss for not doing that, but in my trip to Huntingburg and my trip to Jasper, just to see very similar little communities, what they've done with buildings like that, they're breathtaking when you go with them. That's a gorgeous building. Just, it looks like crap right now, but it is a gorgeous building, exposing all that brick on the inside, and then they do all kinds of creative things. One of the coolest stores that I went to in Huntingburg was a home goods store. And it was one of the sharpest home goods stores I've ever been in my entire life. And you could buy, it was absolutely awesome. You could buy candles, you could buy books, you could buy decoration stuff. It was Pam's dream. It was a Pammy dream. But there are a lot of things that could happen. And to a point that whoever, I think Shelley made it, financial services companies, they're great, we've got to have them. But what we really would like to have in our downtown corridor are some boutiques, and we want some little restaurants. I would love a little Mexican restaurant or something in Houston this weekend. Now, none of these were cheerleaders that we were in Houston for to see, but there was an acai bowl truck out front, food truck. And I hate to think how much money they made, but people were lining up to see that. Now that's Houston. But I'm telling you what, I was in line, Pam was in line, Ellie was in line. The 16 girls that we took down there to compete were in line for an acai bowl. It could be hugely successful if we have something that would serve that, and it's just a little different taste. Let me say before we look at this, and you guys can do what you want, but regarding the roof, I enclosed 2 bids. I had 4 companies wanting to bid, 2 backed out because they said it's just too big of a project, we don't want to attempt it.
Talking this one.
This roof. Yeah, that's in the Google Drive. It's there for you guys to peruse, and then we can chat about what needs to happen with that. But
The one had 2 different
sheets, and it is not near as inclusive as it should be. There's elements from the project that is leaving off. The one that's most complete and accurate, right down to the detail, is the one from Millwood. But the other has probably $30,000 to $40,000, if not more, of stuff that they didn't know how to quote it.
which is why it's $40,000 less.
Correct. Correct. But it would be 2 contractors that would work together, which scares me, versus one who could do it all in one. But no one else would bid it. I couldn't do it,
So the one's not even a complete bid.
not even a complete bid. Yeah, there's a lot that it doesn't even cover. But anyway, that gives you that. Here's some still shots of that, obviously a top view. This would be the stage, if you can see my little cursor there. Right behind the Polk Garden, that would be a stage. And then all of that grassy area, you could put lawn chairs, blankets, whatnot. But each one of these circles, that's seating. There's seating here. There's seating here. All kinds of seating here. That's a swing. And just in terms of this is what they're suggesting, et cetera. Then obviously, that's a little different shot.
What is the sign at the back of the Polk Garden? What is that
That
like?
that will read whatever, and it won't necessarily be that big, but that will be whatever we want it to
So it
be.
can
But it'll be
change.
something about the Quilt Garden.
Quilt Garden patio, it's not digital or anything
Oh,
like
okay.
that, no, it's just,
It
it will
looked
be
like
a,
that was fine to me.
And it won't be quite that's enormous.
Yeah.
Because I believe this dimension in terms of width is nearly 40 or 50 feet. It's not a 50-foot sign.
Yeah.
It's 5 or 6 feet high by maybe 12 to 15 feet long is what they're suggesting. And we can make that whatever we wanted to make. The arborvitae that would be behind that.
What about a wishing fountain so we could collect money?
There you go.
Public Works will have the police then.
For an extra $50,000 to $60,000 we can get back.
Nickels and dimes and quarters, they don't accept.
I mean, the very first one, this they were like, oh, this could be a splash pad area. We're like, we got one out of Memorial Park,
Yeah.
let's avoid that, because I think it was, I don't know how much. It's enormous, but-
Is that, did they design, and that's the, this is the most current design because they put the platform in there? So that can be rotational artwork. We can have different sculptures or
This
displays.
concrete square, you can put planted things on top of it if you're not displaying any artwork, but it's big enough to encompass, or to literally hold sizable pieces of art, and you can landscape around it.
That's where our rusty squirrel's gonna go.
That's
Where the squirrel's gonna go.
I've never told you this story, but that squirrel attacked me while I was mowing out there, at least 2 times, and I had lacerations on my shoulder. But this would be like tall grasses and whatnot. They wanted this whole thing to be, they wanted all this to be pavers, and that cost $975 million to make it all pavers. So this remains the limestone. We're not doing anything with this. They're just gonna kind of refurb that to keep it not so hard and not so, to make it more porous. These are pavers, and this is the only concrete here, and this winding path that goes back.
And what about
There's a-
drainage?
There's a whole idea for the park at the backside of it. And, you know,
But did you said drainage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the stones, obviously.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for, but and then everything, the natural fall of this kind of already goes back this direction. And then we've got a storm sewer about right here. Does that sound about right?
Yep, that's correct.
So that's kind of taken care of, but.
Around the Coke Garden, will that be a concrete wall?
What now?
Around the Coke Garden?
That's the same wall that's already
It'll
there.
stay.
Yeah, that would just be wood.
No, that's brick.
Oh, it's block now?
That's brick.
Okay, I thought he said they might just keep it white.
I hope not.
No, that's gonna be block. The
Okay.
only thing that we'll do is probably pressure wash that and clean it up.
That'd be-
But not so nasty and lovely, but, that's kind of it. On that, they recommend, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I know it is late and everybody wants to go home. I think all these revitalization projects are great. The only caveat that I would like to point out is in a lot of these small towns that were built in the 1800s, when they do projects like this, it's like, bam. Now, this one section of town is urban, and then everything else still looks like it's from the 1800s. So I don't know, as projects move forward, if there is a way to just kind of like, maybe like soften them a little bit and have them blend like a little bit more with the town. And I'm not talking about like making them old timey, but somehow just having it, like Ducks Pavilion was perfect. It fit really well in
Very
those
good
space. It worked really well in that space. It looks like a lovely new building, but it doesn't look like it, it belongs in an urban city. Like I think personally, I think Nephinese struggles with that a little bit sometimes when you see some of their artwork and the designs they put out there next to their 1800 buildings and horse and buggies.
Yeah, Josh Goldberg talked a lot about that, and he knows a lot about making it look like it fits.
Yes.
I noticed that in
Incorporate all
his,
kinds of things.
what he was talking, in his
Yeah.
estimate, what he was talking about doing. He talked about some different ways to make it
He's
look.
considered that a lot.
The stone and the
He wants to tie
pavers
some of
and
those
the-
same elements that were, and he talked about dots a lot, but some of the elements, the decorative lighting that we already have downtown, the black posts, those will be black. Those are white, they're not, that's not the correct color, those light poles are white, they're supposed to be black. But, so it will tie that all together, but to that point, and I thank you for making that point, regarding facades, and we were talking about facade programs, and I want to visit that. I think revamping it and giving them greater incentives to actually utilize that facade is something that we can put our heads together on. But the thing that I would love to see is as we move forward, we get people interested in doing that, that they maintain the charm of the building, that they try, Jasper is a good example. They have this really cool part of downtown, but it's kind of like very out of place because so many of the buildings want all of these modern features that parts of it's rather out of place to that point.
Working with it instead of against it, trying to find that compromise.
So the charm of our buildings, the charm of the architecture downtown, we need to do our best that we can. But, so, Any further questions on this? I guess at this point, I would love for the council to approve moving forward on that with obvious suggestions and very tactful reprimands put in place. But I hate myself for loving Wakarusa as much as I do, and at the same time, I love Wakarusa as much as I do. But, so I don't know if that's something that you need to talk about further, but we are up against time in terms of agreements is kind of what against it. So at least on the Quilt Garden, I would love to be able to move forward on that project, knowing that I've got a big meeting tomorrow about it, so.
Do we want to consider amount we're willing to spend towards this? Kind of see where it goes and then maybe discuss later if we need to make up funds or if we just cut things out that.
Do you even need a number right now? I mean, are you wanting approval for the whole initiative or just one project in the initiative? Because if it's a long-term going thing and you're gonna continuously build funds in this thing.
That's the idea.
What number do we throw at it?
Well, the only thing we need approved to move forward with project number one is the proposal from Stone Ridge. And if you want to give a caveat of, we're only gonna do, and he broke it up into sections so that we can say we only want to do the lighting if we get enough funds and grants raised.
So when do they wanna start on that project?
We've been strongly encouraged to have it well underway by Maple Syrup Festival. And post our QR code there to help with fundraising for that project and for the other ones to follow.
So underway meaning it's a construction site during
Yes.
Maple Syrup
Yes.
Festival?
Yes,
Does that pose a potential safety hazard for downtown?
now because we'll have it, they'll literally fence it all off like they see when you're walking through Chicago or Indianapolis and there's a building site.
Do we need that space
No.
for anything?
We don't utilize the Quilt Garden space for anything
But they would create a rendering with a big beautiful picture
on the board.
and then a QR code, and then they'd be able to, those people that would, we're not gonna get a lot of outsiders, but people would come in and go, because I'm one of those guys, I would look at this, I'd look at it and go, I'm not from here, but man, I wanna come back and see it. So to make it that enticing, we would love to have it there from a marketing standpoint, if you'll allow me that, from a marketing standpoint, with a QR code, and then it would be really interesting to see, even people from the town who would say, I'll throw $10 at this thing, I'll throw $100 at this thing. It would be interesting to see what kind of reaction we would get in moving forward. I think this is fairly new territory for most of us. These are uncharted waters, especially considering the fact that we've never really done, I've lived here for almost 15 years now, and I've never seen Wakarusa attempt anything like this. So I think it's gonna be interesting to see what kind of response we actually get. But with monies already invested or committed to it, I'm confident that this is gonna be a simple enough project to cover financially.
And how much do you anticipate the chairs and tables and that? Is it already back to the 50-some thousand for that added on to this?
No,
Because that's not in this.
it's included in the entire project.
It's included in the 251? I did not see it.
No,
So that's why I'm saying, do we fund the Linger Longer project or do we fund a certain project within the initiative? You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
Yes.
Do we
each project
dedicate,
will
the
be-
town will say, we'll put this much money into the Linger Longer project.
Yeah.
As a whole at this time. And then now it's on Linger Longer to develop the rest of the funds to keep building off of that and snowball.
You could do it that way, but I think Josh Welker, or I should say Stone Ridge, will need a signed contract in order to proceed.
Well, that's what I'm saying, if we put,
When it talks in here about the drainage and stormwater work is not included, what is that gonna entail?
Simply running, probably one storm line over with a couple fingers. We have
So
one
it's
right
something
there,
we can do.
right there at the bathrooms.
So what I'm saying is, right now, the two projects that we have in front of us, that we have physical hard numbers on, are almost $600,000 in total. If we say as a town, we throw $100 or $200 or $300,000 into the Linger Longer initiative, you have the ability to cover the 251 that you keep going after to keep snowballing and building your pot. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I think if.
And that showed, like you said, what's Wakarusa got in the game? Well, we've established this much money into the Linger Longer initiative.
I think
A
what,
conversation that says something, people conversation. that-
oh yeah, because that's one of the first questions they ask, is what's the town got? What's the stake the town is willing to? And that would be, if we can be at that 50% mark, let's just say if the total is $600 or $650, can we be at that $300,000 mark? Can we be at the $325,000?
That's what I'm saying, use it as a springboard, right?
As a springboard.
Because maybe we plant the seed and it grows, and then now it just funded the whole park rent, you know?
Very good idea.
Which is actually the goal.
That is the goal, so I think that's a great idea.
So what did we budgeted for pickleball, 300, correct? Just earmarked for that project, and that's been up in the air whatever. So what if we rededicate that 300 that was supposed to be for pickleball, because now pickleball is in the Linger Longer initiative, that 300 moves into and funds the Linger Longer, and now that's your springboard.
Yep.
That's your ability to go out and grow off of.
I like
And
that.
the people that you've already taken donations from are not under the impression that it's going for pickleball, correct?
We've not had any donations for pickleball yet,
Okay.
just,
I just meant with the
It's
one
all
that
good
had
for the
it's all
program.
the
called. And
By lumping it this way, the donation could go either way depending on where the chips fall.
Except I think there's a couple that want to do.
Specific, right, absolutely. So your money was guaranteed win here.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
great.
You're gonna have
It
people,
just
that-
displaced,
pickleball, it'll-
your $10 displaced that $10, it's fine.
but you are gonna have people that are gonna say, okay, I wanna do this, and you're gonna have people who are,
Yeah.
which is no big deal, but start out with $300,000 and go from there.
That's kind of why I like the idea of the Linger Longer being an umbrella on the initiative. We can just- I think that's a great idea. That's a great way to move forward.
So then do we need a motion to move your re-year tag, or is that, are we good with that? And then we also need a motion for this contract, right? But do we need a motion for,
Can we take that out of the budget when it's budgeted for the, and put it towards?
So it's, we could take that out of the edit, and it's just, labeled town improvements.
Oh.
Yes, town improvements.
okay, so
So,
then this needs,
I mean, it's already budgeted.
That's how we used for the pickleball,
Right.
was that.
Right,
improvements,
we can earmark that as the lingering longer, and I don't know that we need to make a motion.
Right.
We can do that.
Well, so it's in the meeting minutes. Let's just say I move to establish the Linger Longer initiative with seed money of the $300,000 from the Edit Pickleball Fund.
I second
Does
that.
that work?
I second that.
You know what?
You have to
I suddenly get to drink after that.
Here, let me record that. You're gonna need
Does
that.
that
I
work?
got it.
Yeah, all right.
okay, I got a motion and a second for that. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. All those opposed? Unanimous vote. Okay, so we need
So now I move the Linger Longer initiative to proceed with the downtown Quilt Garden patio. Was it a contract, a quote from Stone Ridge?
I second that.
okay, got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous vote. Okay. All right. So We're close. It was brought up last night about April's meeting being on spring break. Does anybody have any conflict?
I won't be
You won't be here?
Where are you gonna be?
there. Somewhere.
South.
So I might not be here either.
Do we need to push it back a
I
week?
would kick it a week.
Okay, so we'll push it back a week.
I'll
All
be
right,
here, but I'll do.
okay. So that would be April 14th. Okay.
13th.
Sixth to 13th, right?
Yeah. So,
I will not be in town, but you have 4. Okay.
all right. You have anything else?
I think I already touched on everything I had wrote down.
Annette, do you have anything else?
I do not.
You have anything else?
No.
I'm good.
All right.
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
Make a motion to pay the claims during the meeting?
I'll second that.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous vote. See you on the 14th, or the 13th and the 14th. Yes.
And that the Cross Street property is 1748 for the Waterford entrance. And the Elkhart is 1890 square footage of the main level.
Okay.
And then you add the upstairs.
17.
Yeah. So
Are they still
and
doing
then you add the
business
basement.
upstairs?
I think they are still doing, let's do the one.
Yes.
The other side, I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure how it's all, I think it's all
Well,
10.
because they had that, had a cease and desist on doing stuff.
Yeah,
Because of
Right now, I believe it's just storage.
yeah.
I
There's
think-
something, but I don't think they're actually doing what they were
Yeah,
doing.
because I think they.
Phil. This was the Casey's and Tara property.
Yeah.
Yeah.